It's a Tuesday, and everything is good.
Chris, how do you collectively get your team to bounce back from the last two losses? Both overtime losses, both had an opportunity to win.
Yeah, I mean, you just have to stay the course. I mean, it's crazy how basically we had two shots in the air. One at the end of regulation, having to do with Boo, this floater that he makes a lot. It just doesn't go down, and you lose a tough overtime game. And then in regulation, we get the foul, and the layup's kind of hanging on the rim, and kind of falls out, and you lose in overtime. So I think the main thing is we got to stay refreshed. We have to stay confident. Opportunities lost, for sure. Winning on the road is really hard in this league. But you just have to keep putting yourself in position to win. And hopefully, we know the importance of a game like tomorrow, playing a very good Nebraska team that we lost a close game to at their place a couple weeks ago. And understanding that, we lost a couple chances last week, so we got to take care of our home floor tomorrow.
One of the things that you had issues with last game was turnovers.
Yeah.
Something that your team
Right.
do. How do you adjust that? How do I mean, they know better, but what do you have to say?
I thought part of that was a little bit of fatigue setting in, honestly. And that's not an excuse. I mean, you still have to show up and you have to play the game, but just the emotional wear and tear of what happened in West Lafayette, and then quick turnaround to have to go back on the road, play an early afternoon game on Saturday. I just thought we had some kind of mindless turnovers that we just really haven't had, and we're just not built to be able to withstand having 17 turnovers. Our goal is single digits, and for the most part we've been there. So it was something that we talked about and showed on film, and obviously as we move into tomorrow and the rest of our slate, we cannot be a high turnover team and expect to be successful.
Against Minnesota in overtime, it looked like the guys' legs got a little tired. Did you see this as kind of like a scheduled situation, kind of like Mississippi State earlier in the year with the back-to-back, playing two overtime games in the same week? Or do you see it as something more systemic that needs to be addressed going forward?
No, I mean, we've played 4 overtime games, in the conference, and we're 2-2. So, 2 of them were at home, 2 were on the road. And so I just thought, I did think fatigue set in a little bit. We were trying to go for the win in regulation, just because I knew that it was going to be hard to play another 5 minutes. Judging on what how long the Purdue game went when you add the 2 travel days in that week, and we were also playing a Minnesota team. Remember, they were off all week. So I mean that they didn't play midweek. So I mean they had 8 days to prepare for us. They were sitting at home. I knew that. That's why I was proud of our guys. I mean, there were a lot of trappings with that game that would have said, hey, to your point, schedule loss. We're a tired team. They've been resting all week. They're good at home. But, our guys fought and put ourselves in a position to steal that game on the road. We just weren't able to do it. But I just think it was a combination of 2 incredibly hard-fought road games in a 4-day stretch. And especially the second game playing against a very fresh team that had been off all week.
You are at home tomorrow, Nebraska. How do you negate their 3-point shooting? Because that's what hurts you in your game with them.
Yeah, it's tough. I think their 3-point shooting hurt us, but also their inside play of Josiah Alec really hurt us. And so they're a very good offensive team, and Fred has always been a terrific offensive coach, and they run good stuff in their spacing. And when you have the shooting of Tominaga, and Bryce Williams is a heck of a player for them, Wilcher, the way he's played this year, and now with Rink Mast at the center position, the way he's shooting the ball. So, you have to get out to shooters. You have to be really dialed in. You can't make mistakes. This is a team that really cuts well. They move well without the ball. They share the ball well, and they feast on when teams have miscommunication. So we're going to have to be really dialed in on that end of the floor.
Coach, speaking of that, because of the way they all come down and shoot and play 5 out, does that allow you to maybe play smaller, more athletic with Nick at the 5, or because of Matt's size and his ability to post up, you got to leave Matt?
Yeah, I mean, I think we got to play our big guys. It doesn't mean there isn't a time if we're really getting strung out and they're really hurting us, 5 out on the perimeter. But, honestly, guys, they're playing really big right now. They're playing the 2 big guys together with Alec and Mast, and now with Juwan Gary back off of his injury, they're playing that lineup a lot, which is actually a very big physical team. So, I think for the most part, you're going to see us have a big guy on the floor. But that doesn't mean situationally, if we feel like we're getting hurt or we feel like we really, have to match up to them being smaller and spreading us out, we can certainly do that as well.
When you're facing two bigs like them that can really take away the intermediate area, it seemed like last time they kind of took away boost float and took away that mid-range game. Like, how do you limit that, and how do you keep that from taking control early?
Yeah, I mean, they're a good defensive team. They do a really good job of kind of protecting the paint, and they're a little bit more susceptible to giving up jump shots, but that's kind of how they play. They really pack in the paint. They want to take away your layups, and inside they double the post. I thought they did a good job last game in kind of taking away our 2-point field goals, although I thought Brooks in the second half put us in position to win with his driving. But it was a little bit of an uncharacteristic game from Boo, in my opinion. Watching the film back, I thought he had some good looks. It was just a night where he didn't shoot it great, and hopefully he'll be more himself tomorrow. But when you play a team a second time, a team like in a league like ours, when coaches are really good and adjustments are made, like, they'll probably do things a little bit differently with some wrinkles, and obviously we will after we saw what we learned from playing them a couple weeks ago.
Following up on that, what's the biggest change you've seen from them in the couple weeks that have passed since you played them first?
Well, they're playing bigger. Juwan Gary was out the last time we played him, so they were playing, the two big guys together. But now when you add Gary, and they're playing him as a lot as a wing, and Bryce Williams is about 6'6", 6'7", and he's playing a lot of point guard for them. So they've gone to that lineup the last few games with 4 guys 6'6" and above, and it's given them added physicality on the glass. And I think just too how well Mast has been playing. Mast was playing well coming into our game, but then you saw what he did in the Ohio State game after ours. He played great. The other night at Illinois, he took 20-something shots. So his aggressiveness as a shooter is probably a little bit, more profound than the last time we played him.
You talked about how tough it is to win in this league. You've excelled at home. Nebraska struggled on the road. Right now you're 4th in the conference. They're 6th. Got about a quarter of the season left, coming off 2 losses.
Yeah.
Does this feel like kind of a tipping point, fulcrum type game for your team?
Yeah, I don't know if it's a tipping point, but they all kind of become must-win now. We just view that. Especially when you play at home, everybody's right now fighting. Everyone's still fighting for things, and we feel we have a lot to fight for. And hopefully coming off too, we just thought we had 2 great opportunities last week, to really get big road wins. Obviously no one really wins at Purdue, to give ourselves a chance to win there. And then, Minnesota's been winning at home this year. So, I don't know that it's a tipping point game just because there are 9 games left. But I do think that we feel like it's a very, very important game, especially coming off 2 road games last week and now being at home. You have to take care of your home court in this league.
When you guys are shooting the way you have, like, you're a top 10 team in the country when it comes to 3-point percentage now, does your role as a play designer change? Like, are you more inclined to hunt for threes, or is it more let the chips fall where they may and let's hunt the open spots on the floor?
Yeah, I think you coach to your personnel. You kind of try to maximize the guys that you have. I think as the season's gone along, I think we've kind of got, with Ryan coming aboard, with Brooks' emergence, now you know what you have in Boo, Ty's consistency this year. You kind of have 4 guys on the perimeter, that can really do some good things on that end of the floor. And I think as the season's gone on, we've kind of learned how to use our parts even better, and been a little bit harder to guard. But you have to take what the defense gives you. I don't think you come into the game saying, like, we got to make 12 threes tonight or whatever. I think you got to, how the game is being defended, how, what is the other team trying to do to you? There probably will be a lot of threes taken tomorrow just because that's how Nebraska defends. They really protect the paint. But that doesn't necessarily mean we're just hunting threes. I just think when you look at the skill set of some of our offensive players, they're good shooters, and so you're obviously going to, call their numbers and try to put them in position where they can be successful.
Do you feel like your quality of shots have been better or worse over the past 4 games as you guys have gotten hotter?
Yeah, I think our quality of shots have been pretty good. as a coach, you always strive for perfection. So can you screen a little bit better? Can you set up stuff a little better? Can you have a little better pace? Obviously, you're always trying to improve. But I think for the most part, offensively, to be averaging 80 points a game in the Big Ten, to me is pretty good offensive output. Now, we have to get better defensively because we're giving up almost 80. So, I mean, that's, you can't just rely that we're going to keep scoring 80 plus. I mean, I hope we do. But I think, the main improvement, honestly, has got to be to shore up some of our defense and get teams. We can't have teams in the 80s and 90s against us. We got to get them down and be a little bit better on that end of the floor. All right. Appreciate you guys. Awesome.